Let me know what you think. I've already read some of the comments, but you gotta let me know what you think. Now, some of you have said, what is Yvette gonna be talking about this week? What is she gonna be talking about this week? Because it's a lot of stuff that happened in politics. Of course, she's gonna cover Syria and all that stuff. I ain't covering that. I'm not talking about that. Let me tell you something. Don't call. I'm not a bad person. Only thing I'm telling you is that I'm not gonna let anybody take me off my math. And my priority is get money into black people's pockets regardless of whatsoever is going on in the rest of this world. My heart goes out to people who have been hurt, maimed, and disfigured. I understand that. But this is my priority, and so I'm staying on my math. What you do with yourself and with you. So if you will come here planning to see something on Syria, I am sorry to disappoint you.
We're going to talk about black people.
We're going to talk about black people. As a matter of fact, we're going to talk about black people every episode. We're going to talk about black people all the time. So talking about black people and what black people need to do and black people need to get, and the claim we have, if that's a problem for you, I don't know if this is the place where you need to be. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. All in love. So I want to start this conversation with a video. And I'm going to use that video to frame this conversation. Antonio Moore, Tone Talks. Go to Tone Talks YouTube, subscribe. Antonio Moore actually put out a video about black wealth, or should I say the lack thereof. And I'm going to use that to have a conversation that we're going to have in this show. I'm not even going to tell you what the conversation is about just yet because I don't want to. I want you to, it's my prerogative and I don't want to. Not just yet. You just stay put. So do what you got to do. We're going to play this video in 1 second. But before we play the video, I want you to subscribe to the channel. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. You can go to breakingbrown.com and subscribe to my weekly newsletter for $2 a month. That's 50 cents a newsletter. You can go to breakingbrown.com also and contribute. Whether it's you $3, $10, $15, $25, $100 a month, whatever you want to contribute a month. Okay? You can do all of that. You can go to donatebrown.com and also contribute to what we're doing here, to what Irony and I are doing here. Okay? These are all things you can do. If you're watching this on Facebook, I want you to like it. Now, if for whatever reason this Facebook feed goes out today, I'm not bringing it back up. We're not bringing it back up. If it goes out, go to YouTube and watch it on YouTube, because YouTube usually stays strong. Facebook sometimes goes out. If it goes out, that's where you need to go. So subscribe, like it, and I want to show you this clip, and just to give you a framing of black people and white people in terms of wealth. I want to show you Antonio Moore's video, and we're gonna go from there. Okay? So we got that up yet, Arm?
Yeah, give me a second.
So we're gonna put that up for you, and I want you to watch it, and then we're gonna go somewhere together.
Let's go.
Tone Talks brings to you the racial wealth gap in America, explained in 60 seconds. In America, there are 190 million whites, living in just about 82 million homes, while there are 40 million blacks, living in just over 14 million homes. To truly understand the racial wealth gap, you must look past the income of these families and evaluate household worth. According to demos.org, in total, white American households own 90% of the national wealth. In contrast, black Americans altogether own less than 2.6% of the national wealth, with most of this small sliver being in the hands of black baby boomer retirees. Black working age families are largely invisible nationally in terms of wealth. To give a clearer lens, the bottom 50% of American households control only 1% of the national wealth. And of the total 14 million black households, likely over 10 million black families fall into this bottom group that owns nearly no wealth. The racial wealth gap is real, and it's growing. While 10%, or about 8 million white homes, are worth $1.4 million or more, according to Slate.com, when you deduct the family car, 50% of African American homes, or over 7 million black families, are worth no more than $1,700. Subscribe to learn more at tonetalks.org.
5 seconds.
Okay, Breaking Brown fam, I want you to keep that video that you just saw, keep that video in your mind in terms of where we are as African Americans, descendants of slaves, in context to white people, in context to the white community, in context to the majority. Keep that in your head because it's going somewhere. This is you all know by now this is how I frame stuff. Okay? That's what I do. Now, I'm going to tell you about a woman. Her name is Maya Warren.
Put her up.
Out of D.C. Put her up.
There she is.
This article talks about how this woman went broke driving for Uber. Now, I want to ask you a question. This is a question I want to ask you. When you see this woman and you see what she did and you see what happened, you see what happened to her? When you see this headline, I want you to tell me what you think. Tell me what pops up in your mind. Tell me what pops up in your mind when you see this black pregnant woman.
She's doing for self.
When you see her fingernails, and everything, what do you think? I want to know what you think. Do you think that, well, she just could have done better? Well, she just didn't make the right decision. Well, she just didn't make the right choices. Is that what you think? Let me know if that's what you think. If you think that this black woman did something to bring this on herself and that she's the problem. If you're telling me that she's a single mother and she's a problem because she doesn't have a husband, is that what you think? I want to know what you think. Because I'm going to tell you something. If what you think is that she's the problem, you're the problem. If you think that she's the problem, that she did things that weren't right and created this in her life, you're the problem. You are the problem. And I'm going to explain to you point by point why you're the problem and why you're a part of the problem. Now, the main problem is how, what I said over the last week, is how our failure is baked into this pie. Our failure, white success requires black failure. It's built on it. And I said that last week. So what I'm going to do now is break that down for you. And I'm going to show you the levels of exploitation in this woman's life that led to her being where she is, that has nothing to do with personal choice, and how you don't even have a choice. You just think you have a choice. And people have in this country has given you things or loaned you things to make you believe you have a choice, all is part of a con. So I'm going to break that down for you.
And
This woman, okay? This woman worked before you, because if you believe that she's part of the problem, then that means you create a lot of assumptions. You had a lot of assumptions about who she is and who she was and why she had the baby. So you say, well, she should have had a baby. What's wrong with her? Well, she had fibroids and she didn't even think she could have a kid. She didn't even know she was pregnant. Okay? And then if you say something else, you might say, well, what was her man? What was her man at Yvette? Her man. You're thinking of a man in the same sense of a white man. You're comparing black maleness to white maleness. But it ain't the same. I'm going to read you something real quick. And I shared this before on the show. If you were subscribed to the newsletter, you should have received this. And if you didn't, I'll send it. The U.S. Census Bureau's American Community Survey gathered data on the jobless rate of non-institutionalized men, 20 to 34 years old, averaged over the period of 2010 to 2014 for 34 major cities. The data paints a grim picture for black men, particularly in Midwestern, industrial, and mid-Atlantic cities like Milwaukee, Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland, Philadelphia, Baltimore, and D.C. The jobless rate was above 45%. What good is it for this woman to have been married to a black man and he ain't got no job? And hold on, not having a job at a rate of 45% is not an individual failure. Don't try to blame the black man for this one. This is an institutional failure. It's deliberate and it is intentional. That's what we're dealing with here. But let's go back to this woman. This woman was working as a home health care aide, right? She was working as a home health care aide. She wasn't some unemployed woman. She wasn't somebody on welfare. She wasn't somebody who was supposed to make different choices. She was working for 5 years. She worked full time as a home health care aide. But you know what? She was only making $300 a week as a home health care aide. And you say, well, I don't know why. Maybe she should have had, no benefits like that. Not like what you're talking about. This is the life that she had, okay? Let's continue on. This is the life that this black woman had. home health care aide. She was trying to be responsible. When she knew she had a baby coming, she wanted to be responsible. So she took a second job by driving Uber. Took a second job. This is not the story of an irresponsible person. Okay. Let me just keep going. Now, more about her story. I want to begin with I think it's kind of best if we begin at the birth of the child now, because she took a second job with Uber. Now, at the birth of her child, she was scratching off a lottery ticket. Now, let me tell you what that is. We're going to mark these stories. We're going to mark this for you. This is the first exploitation. Lottery is an exploitation of poor people. Keep you dreaming. One day I'm going to have this big house. One day I'm going to have this nice car. Because I can't get it here. This is supposed to be a meritocracy. I'm in the richest country in the world, built by slaves, but I got to go scratch off a ticket. So she's having her baby. And she's telling her mama, I'm going to scratch off this lottery ticket. While she's in the room, in the hospital room. That's an act of desperation and exploitation. She's desperate. That's why she has a lottery ticket. And she's being exploited by the people who sold her the lottery ticket. Now, when she decided she wanted to drive for Uber, she ain't got no car. So you know what she did? Uber has this thing where you can lease a car. You can lease an Uber car. You know what they charge you? Over $200 a month to lease a Nissan Altima, I think is what she had. Over $200 a month to lease a freaking Nissan. So you have to, they take out that every week. So you have to look at what you make after that. What do you get after that? This is what she was dealing with. She pawned her mama's ring. Let's go to the second exploitation. Pawn shops. Everything in the black community is designed to exploit us. It's built on our failure. Pawn shops, another thing. So we got lottery, we got pawn shops, all built to exploit us. To take advantage of us. To try to be, when this woman is trying to be responsible, she has all these things trying to take advantage of her. So she's bringing in $243 a week. $215 goes to who? $215 goes to that little Nissan she had to rent. How many? $800 a month for a Nissan? No, but that's Uber. That's how capital moves. But they're going to tell you, oh, no. This is ride sharing. This is the sharing economy. You set your own schedule. You do your own thing. When's the last time you picked up a hitchhiker at 2 a.m. because you wanted to? When? Just tell me when. Because that's what Uber's telling you to do. But we'll get to the gamification of Uber later. We'll get to how they game you to show up and do it. Did y'all see the story? There was a story a while back I wish I had gotten for this show about I think it was a black woman who lost her life. She was picking up people at bars while driving Uber and had an accident. She had an accident and she died. She wouldn't have been out there otherwise. Why do they have us thinking that hitchhiking? Well, I get to drive my own, I get to set my own hours. No, you don't. Uber is always sending you alerts and stuff. Well, you need to be here, you need to be here. If you want to meet this deadline, you need to be here. That's the gamification of Uber. That's what they do. Just like with her car got sideswiped. Okay? It's not really her car. I don't know why I called it her car. But the car she was driving for Uber got sideswiped. That's $600. That's another $600 she got to pay. And while she had the baby, when she was out having the baby, that was another that's money she wasn't making. So you got to put that in. So eventually she owes over $1,000. She owes over $1,000 to Uber. $1,400 because of a lease. That's exploitation. And what I want to get to, when you look at what I'm trying to say is all these people who have you believing that it's the result of this woman's choices. They don't understand choice. They don't understand that that she didn't have that choice. That what other choice did you have but to drive Uber? Well, she could have done something different. She could have. She could have. Her husband could have mowed grass. How? What are you talking about? You know, it's almost as if these people who talk this do for self stuff don't understand that you don't have a choice. You don't have that choice. Uber's got all these badges. They send you, even before your fare is up, they send you something for a new fare. Here goes a new fare. Your new fare is around the corner. Oh my God, you're signing off? You're almost at $300. Why are you signing off for? Oh my God, we got some other stuff for you around the corner. Oh my God, don't you want to be here at this time? Oh, and because they have social scientists who have studied this and know how to manipulate you. They know that you're goal-oriented. And they know how to keep you in the game and keep you working as long as they want you to be working. And they totally destroyed labor law through lobbyists and through how our politics works. And so you don't have any labor law anymore. But you so crazy that you think, well, I get to set my own hours. I'm self-employed. You ain't self-employed. They can deactivate you at any minute. And you're finished. And there's nothing you can do about it. What do you mean self-employed? What are you talking about? You think you have choice and you don't. But here's what I'm going to break it down and tell you. All of you people who are talking about how awful this woman is and how she made bad choices, y'all are just as bad as her in terms of being on the edge. You're no better. You think you're better than her because you have a college degree maybe, but you're not. Tell me, how many of y'all have college degrees without a loan? How many of y'all parents came up to that school and paid cash? So the only reason you don't know that you're not better is because the government gave you loans, private institution gave you loans, and because of credit. If you had to go to that school and pay cash for your loan, you would know that you're not better than that woman. You would know that. It wouldn't even be a question. But let me just break it down for you. This woman who was doing this, and she had got her hours cut. She got her hours cut when she was working at the home health care for the elderly. And she had taken care of her grandfather who had cancer. Good people. But she was doing all of that. And then one day, she walked into the Chick-fil-A and couldn't buy a chicken sandwich. Credit card got declined. Debit card got declined. Let me break this down so you understand. A descendant of a slave whose ancestors built this country on free labor can't afford a chicken sandwich. Let me say that again. A descendant of slaves, the people who built this country with free labor, not paid labor, built this country with free labor means you have nothing to pass down to your kids. You have nothing. You have zero to pass down to your kids. The descendants of slaves. The ancestor, that's who she is, the ancestor of slaves, can't afford to buy a chicken sandwich at Chick-fil-A. That's where we are. But you better than her, right? Right? Okay? Now let me tell you, I'm trying to get you to understand what failed her. You're going to tell me this do for self BS I keep hearing. You're going to tell me, well, she failed herself. Well, should have had a husband. Should have made a different choice. Although you won't tell me what the choice is. I'm going to tell you what really failed her. I'm going to break it down and tell you what really failed this woman. She didn't have no maternity leave. In most first world countries, you have maternity leave. You got maternity leave in most first world countries. You can chill. When you have a kid, they'll pay you 4 to 6 weeks.
No longer than that.
Or longer than that. The government pays, your corporation, government, whatever. Somebody pays for you to be off and take care of your baby. How you gonna tell me that a descendant of a slave in this country can't even have a baby? One baby. She ain't got 10. She got one. We can't have one kid. Working 2 jobs. She can't afford one kid. She was on the verge of homelessness. She had to move in with her mama. One kid is all she was gonna have. And how would you? Somebody's like, well, she shouldn't have had the kid. You gonna tell this woman to abort a kid? She had fibroids. She didn't think she could have kids. She has one, and you want her to abort it? How cold are you? How much like the dominant culture are you? You're just like the capitalists who enslaved people. Well, she should have killed her baby because why? Because of capitalism? Because of how we've been treating this country? Like, what are you saying? I don't even understand. When I hear black people, I don't understand. What are you talking about? Who taught you this? Who taught you to think like this? Who taught you to think that she's the villain? And that her choices put her there? No maternity leave. Then her job didn't give her leave either. Her job said, well, we have something where you can purchase. You can purchase at $300 a month. You can purchase disability, whatever the heck they're talking about. But guess what? She only made $300 a week on a good week. That's not a choice. But that's how they have you thinking that's a choice. Well, we have it available. It's $300. That's not a choice. If I'm making $300 a week, how is what I'm going to be using to take for maternity leave the same as what I'm making in a week? That ought to be illegal, but it's not illegal because the United States government is a freaking con in terms of how we've been treated. It's a con. And we buy into it. This is a con that just uses stuff so that we will fail. That's what they do. We fail. And it enriches other people, right? This place where she worked, I'm sure they made good money. The company where she worked made decent money. They were probably making money hand over foot. Talking about we offered her. You didn't offer anything. If it's not offered at an affordable price, it's not offered. If they're not offering that to her at $300 a week, at $5 a paycheck, it's not offered. And even that's too much, $300 a week to take care of old people and turn them over and be good to them and bathe them and change their pillows. What do you mean?
That's important work.
That's important work. And you can't even make a living off of it. And that's what she's dealing with. And some of you are telling me that it's her fault. She had a C-section. She couldn't take time off. Cut your stomach open. In America, you can't take time off. And you're the descendant of people who built this country. What does that mean? Let me break it down for you. I just want to break it down for you a little bit. And this is part of my problem with Pan-Africanism. This is not Zimbabwe. This is the richest country in the world. With the calcification of wealth at the very top. The richest country the world has ever seen. All the wealth is at the very top with white people. We have no resources. We have no money. And we're supposed to compete. Do you think you're going to compete with a white kid trying to get in Stanford whose family has money, has inheritance? Talking about, well, she should have had a man. Her man just didn't have no money. She has a man. He ain't got no money. He don't have no stable income. But he don't have inheritance. But you're going to try to compete with them and say, well, my kids are going to Harvard too. Don't you see? They priced you out of America and you don't know it because of credit. They priced us out of the country that we built and we don't see it because we get credit. If I hadn't been able to go to Howard, I'd have seen it sooner because I ain't got, what you mean I can't go? Well, you need cash. Well, what you mean? Well, you need cash, Yvette, and you want to go.
18-year-old Yvette would have known things about herself.
I would have known that I'm poor. Oh my. All of us would have known that we're poor. It's not just this woman, you poor too. And I know because the data says the middle black family has $1,700. You're not no better than her. Stop walking around thinking you're better than her because you graduated from somewhere. You know better than her. You know better than her. And that part of the problem is this black respectability and these black people who keep walking around thinking, well, I would have made different choices. No, you wouldn't have. You'd probably been homeless. At least she had a mama who could take her in. You think you have, it's almost like I think some black people think they have agency. And I think they have control and they have choice. And I honestly think some of you, if you found out that you didn't have control and that you didn't have a choice, I think you go crazy. I think if you realize how much choice you don't have, I think you lose your mind. And I think that's what this is about. You have to blame her. You will not blame the government for not doing things that a first world government is supposed to do. Listen, I was telling a friend earlier today, listen, I don't have money. But in the daytime, if I get tired, I take a nap. And I have you strivers tell me, Yvette, why do you take a nap? That doesn't make any sense. You're supposed to grind through it, and I grind through that my job. That's not a first world life. Part of being in the first world is supposed to mean that you don't have to do that. Being in a first world country is about quality of life. These people got you believing it's about killing yourself on the job. It's not supposed to be about that. Go to Norway and find out if they kill themselves on the job. Go to Switzerland and find out if they kill themselves on the job. Go to Paris and ask the Parisians if they kill themselves on the job. Go ask them. ask them if they can. No, being in a first world country is about quality of life. You should be able to take a nap, go for a hike, go for a run. You ain't supposed to live like this. And I'm telling you, how have these people convinced you that this is how you're supposed to live in this country? How? This is not how we're supposed to be living. We're not supposed to be going through stuff like this. Who has convinced you that this is supposed to be our life? Who told you that? And there's a great, when we talk about choice, we talked about choice, and one of the things that was apparent is that Uber, presses like what they call it, the psychological. Somebody said they pay for my tuition. Well, you can pay for my loans. I still got them. I pay them every month. You can pay for my loans. I got you. I'll send you the statement, the invoices, everything. Holler at me. And let me tell you something. And
I'll produce receipts.
Yeah, receipt. I produce all kinds of. And let me tell you something. Some of you, I'm going to get personal right now.
Uh-oh.
I'm going personal right now.
We need these people, Yvette.
I know. But I have the data. But the data ain't enough. Let me tell you what else I got. I have anecdotal stories too. I have so many people who said, well, no, Yvette, if you do a show or something, I will fund you. I'm going to send you $3,000 right now. I remember what the check said. Did we get the checks?
No.
A lot of people promised a lot of stuff and it didn't get. The way I got the money that me and Irony did get for this show is through small donations from y'all. Like some people gave 100, some people gave 20, some people gave 5, some people gave 10, some people gave 3. Whatever you can give is appreciated. But all these big ballers who talk smack,
they did
not come through. No. They did not come through. And you know who you are, and I'm talking to you. And if you got a problem, please inbox me. I have no problem having a conversation with you to your face. You are fronting. You are lying, and you are making other black people feel bad for the con game that America has put them in. That's what you're doing. And that's why you're a problem. Uber is gamifying things. Uber is psychologically tricking people. But you think you got a choice. Okay. Sending them messages like you're almost there. Another fare is on the way. The next fare is around the corner. That's what Uber does.
Oh, well, one guy volunteered to pay your Obamacare premium.
Well, let's do that then. That's good enough. I do that. I'll take it. Right? I mean, Uber has people think like. Let me just try to break this down as best as I can. This Uber driver. This article that we put up a little while ago. This Uber driver was making like $20,000 a year. But then he was talking about all the badges he got. Like, I got this badge. That don't matter what for damn. And this woman was we were talking about making around say $20,000 after expenses, after you pay for gas and all that stuff. You're talking $20,000 a year. You can't live in the richest country in the world off 20. No. You cannot live in the richest country in the world off 20. And they got us thinking that way. And that's my problem. Like I said, I'm not trying to say down Pan-Africanism, but here's the thing. It's got you thinking like you're the same as the guy in Zimbabwe. Or you're the same as the person in Uganda. Yeah, we're all oppressed. But the problem is, African Americans in this country created the richest country in the world. I need what they got. Because they stole from me. And you think, well, I can just be like him. No, he stole your stuff. Like the ability to be like him was taken with what he stole. So he stole what you were going to do in terms of your life. He took all of that. Like, honestly, in my mind, and this is just me talking, like, I think, honestly, when black people see Bill Gates or Warren Buffett, we should growl. You ever seen a dog, and the dog don't like somebody, and the dog's upset, and the dog's like, nah. Like, you should just growl. Like, you shouldn't be happy. I'm going to be Bill Gates. No, Bill Gates took your opportunity to be Bill Gates. He had an IP attorney for a daddy. He grew up around computers. He had all this inside stuff, and he got all the money. Because you get that amount of money by theft and by wage suppression. Do y'all remember? There was some great emails. When I'm done, if you look it up. Steve Jobs and the head of Google, I think it was. And they were emailing back and forth about how not to pay engineers much money. And how they were going to put a ceiling on it. Right? They doing this to white people. But you think you're going to be okay? Without government? You think we don't have to organize? The only power we have is in the collective, not the individual. You as an individual, that don't matter. Our power is in the collective, in the group, not an individual. You get the kind of money Steve Jobs had through theft, You get the kind of money Bill Gates had through wage theft. That's how you get it. You don't get it by being brilliant. What are you running around reading their books for, talking about you going to be like them? You should be mad. Like every time somebody says Bill Gates in front of you, you should kick over a trash can. Just kick it. Just knock it out. Don't you say that around me no more. I don't care about him. He ain't nothing special. He came about in a special time with special people, with special advantages, with special circumstances. That's what you should say. These have these social data science. I mean, good grief. And I'm going to just say this. Before I'm about to close this out in a minute. But Chick-fil-A manipulates us too. Ooh, what you mean, Yvette? I mean, all fast food is engineered to be delicious. I don't eat much meat, but I know it's delicious. If that don't mean I love when these people who don't really eat much meat or eat meat at all say I don't even have a taste for meat anymore. You crazy. When I go by McDonald's, I be like, ooh, that smell good. Ooh, it's chemically engineered to be delicious. And that's why she wants it. All this stuff is set up for us to give our money back to them. That's how the game is played. And we don't have any labor protection. I mean, it's just how the game is played. Like when you think about how many games are being played against us at one time. Like you think about Uber, the pawn shop, the Chick-fil-A, the fast food restaurants, everything, the lottery, everything. What is your expectation of us? What is your expectation of what we're supposed to be doing? That you think that because she married if she married a man, it will be everything will be okay? Like, how does it even make sense?
No.
Unless you're like an idiot. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just telling the truth.
Well, a lot of people think that we date like white people and like men should take care of their women. Like we've been.
But like black men have the money to take care of them.
Exactly.
That's like that whole Groupon. Y'all remember that Groupon argument? Well, I ain't dating no man with no Groupon. He didn't tell me. What do you think? Do you not know that you're poor? Because I'll tell you.
I don't think they know that black men are poor. Like I don't. Or Shonda Rhimes had them confused. Shonda Rhimes.
Like but how?
They want a black doctor.
Yeah, but how? And remember the doctor we had call in?
Oh yeah, he doesn't have any money.
He's in debt.
He in debt.
He's a black doctor. Great guy. He's in debt too. What are you talking about? You don't know that you're poor.
They want a third generation black doctor.
Yeah. And he ain't doing great.
Yeah. They want a third generation black doctor. So good luck with that.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Good luck with that.
And I'm not gonna get into this, but if you somebody and you want a third generation black doctor, you gotta be a certain kind of woman, don't you? Oh, we don't talk about that though. We don't talk about that. I mean, I'm just saying, like these people, like it used to be when the whole paper bag test, these black respectability people were trying to emulate like white people, so they had whole rules about how stuff was gonna happen. Do you want that? You want that again? Is that what you want? That black respectability, madness, paper bag test and all that? Do you want that? And let's be honest. Let's just be honest about one thing. We can't pay for college in cash because we don't got resources. People who own like resources, they can go to cash. They can go to college and pay cash. They can go to college and pay cash because they have people that own resources. Even when I look at people who come from other countries who pay cash at Howard, they pay cash because their family had access to resources back home. We don't have that. And you say, oh, college is so expensive. Not for some people, it's not.
Exactly.
If you remember the upper class or the super rich white, they can afford college. They can afford college just fine. It's expensive for you. It's expensive for me. It's not expensive for them. It's not expensive for people who can afford it. They have resources. For them, college is an expression of wealth. It's not wealth. They come to the network and stuff. They don't even need to make good grades. And even if they don't have that money, they have social capital. Right? So they know so-and-so in the neighborhood. They know this professor, they know these people. They have all these relationships. So it's not just about money with white people. It's about capital. I mean, not just about capital. It's about having social capital. They have access to social capital even if they don't have money. So let me explain to you what I mean. If you see a white person, they come up to you and they say, hey, I'm a millionaire or whatever. You gotta you don't know. You gotta be like, I don't know. He could be a millionaire. I have no idea. Because any white person could be a millionaire. If you walk up to me as a black person, say you're a millionaire, 999 times out of 1,000, you a liar. Okay? So they know what to look at when they see us. When they see us, they know, oh, that's a descendant of slaves. They ain't got no money. Don't have no money. What are they talking about? Oh, I can just dismiss them. And that's why you need government to intervene. Because they know in terms of relationships, in terms of money, we don't have anything to leverage because we came from slaves. No fault of our own. I'm proud that I'm still here. We ain't supposed to be here. But that's who we are. And that matters. That's what matters. And I don't think people understand. I don't think people understand, that we have priced out. We have been priced out of America. Like, I don't think people understand that we have been priced out of this country and what that means to us as individuals. And now we're being replaced. I don't think people understand what that means. And I want to just take a moment to thank everybody. Give myself a breather and thank everybody. I'm happy to be back, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in for this show. And if we're gonna do the calls, we're gonna do the call-ins in a minute. But if you are watching, take time to, if you're watching on YouTube, take time to subscribe. Please take time to subscribe. I know all of you. I don't know if all of you know YouTube has made some changes, and it's really diminished us financially. So if you don't have money, just subscribe to the channel for me. Share it, tweet it. If you're watching on Facebook, also just share it. Like it, because liking it determines how many people get to see it. You can go to donatebrown.com. You can go to breakingbrown.com to subscribe to the newsletter. You can do all of these things. So please just take a moment to do that, because YouTube got me real fidgety right now. Real fidgety. It's got me real fidgety. Thank you, Armin. It's got me feeling some kind of way. So so I just want to take a moment, take a break, an intermission, if you will. But the last thing I really want to say is that I am not even upset right now at the people who are judging this woman, because the truth of the matter is, pretty soon everybody falling over that cliff. And what you gonna say then? What you gonna say when it's your turn to fall over the cliff? Are you gonna tell people who have no money, who are in debt, that they should be saving? Is that what you're gonna say? Are you gonna tell people who live over the edge, we should be doing better? Because you're gonna fall over too. So, there was something that I said at the end. I posted this for you all don't know. I posted this story about the woman and what she was going through as an Uber driver. I posted it last week. And for those who don't know, I said something, but it went left. Like, people took it and went left with it. And it was very odd. But what I said was, and I'm going to explain to you exactly why I said what I said. I said that she said she spent like $8. She couldn't afford a Chick-fil-A sandwich. And she got an occasional manicure, right? And I said that a manicure is about $20, and I had to call and ask because I've never had a manicure. And the Chick-fil-A meal is about $8. And what I said was she shouldn't have spent that money there. And people interpreted that to mean, well, Yvette is saying that she made bad choices. Listen, Sandy Darity is totally correct in his estimation that saving more, studying more, graduating college, none of that closes the wealth gap. So there's nothing that this woman could have done that would have equaled upward mobility for her. That's not what I'm saying. What I was saying is that she needs to do everything she can to make that money spread as long as she could for survival. It's not about mobility. You're not going to be upwardly mobile because you saved $8 on your Chick-fil-A sandwich. What I'm saying is that you need that money to survive. You need that money to survive to tomorrow or to Wednesday or Thursday. It's not, well, she's in that position because of bad choice. No, she's in a position because America is America. That's why she's in that position. America is America. And it's a con game been running us for a long time. That's why she's in that position. It's not because of her Chick-fil-A sandwich. That, like I said, is magically delicious. Okay? So, I want to be clear that what I'm saying is that I want her money to spread as long as it can. And there's a clip. You go to the cheap food clip.
Oh, yeah.
One of the advantages of living in America, which is a first world country, one of the advantages is that food here is cheaper than everywhere, especially all first world countries. So what I'm saying to you is, in order to survive, take advantage of all of your advantages. Well, what do you mean, Yvette? I mean, the food is cheap here, but you don't get that advantage. You don't get that advantage if you don't cook. That's one of the only advantages we have is the fact that the food is cheap. You can go to Kroger and get a 10 for 10 all the time. Okra and black-eyed peas, whatever. That's one of our only advantages. We should have more advantages, and we should fight for those advantages. But until that time comes, what I'm telling you is that it's best for you to cook. And I know it's hard to cook because the food smells so good, and it's so convenient. You just run through a fast food window. But I'm telling you that for survival's sake, because we have to be a collective, and we have to move together, and we have to move together and organize for the benefit of African Americans. But until we get our due, we have to survive. We have to survive to live to fight another day. That has to happen. So, I mean, as an example, I told people last week, I said, listen, like last week, I made a veggie chili. Like black beans and pinto beans and tomatoes and all, and corn and that stuff. The beans cost like 99 cents a can, and then the whole meal was like under like $6, right? I don't have any I don't take any that. Why should I be ashamed of that? I'm not ashamed of that. I'm not ashamed at all. What other choice do I have? I made a vegetarian shepherd's pie the other day. Potatoes on top, veggies on the bottom. What do you mean? I don't have a whole lot of choices. I go out every once in a while. But I don't even know if I would do that if I had kids. That's how serious this is right now. So I'm not talking about her in terms of, if she could have done this, she couldn't have done nothing. She couldn't have saved much of anything. Like at most she would have saved that's not like, I'm not saying that she could have done better if she saved. She could have been upwardly mobile. She's just irresponsible. No, I'm just trying to talk about the best way to live to fight another day. What I'm saying is that this if she had done this on Monday, maybe that'll carry her through Friday. That's it. That's it. That's all I'm talking about. That's all I'm saying. And for all of you who are saying that she's here because of her choices, you've made a mistake. This is your problem. I think we might have do we have our moderator? Did you get the email about the moderator?
Yeah, I put it on.
Good job. Good deal. So you got something you want to say, Irie?
No, I'm good.
I know I've been going for a minute.
No,
you've
been all right.
We about to go to the phones in a minute. I missed y'all. Y'all all right?
I didn't put the number up.
Down. Antonio holding it down though.
Yeah, I didn't put the number up, but we're full up. Should I kick everybody off and start new?
No, you can start. We'll try to be succinct in your calls so that we can keep it moving and get to the next calls, because I hate leaving people on the line. So just try to get your thought together, get it in, and let's get it out. Okay?
Hello?
Yes, I'm here.
Keep it moving and get to the next call.
Cut your computer down.
I apologize.
No problem.
So this is the young doctor. It's been a while since I spoke to you. I'm still 300,000 heavy. And, I've been getting the letters, the emails telling me it's coming through. So I called just to speak on 3 points. I saw the video of your talk in New York, and I felt like the lady at the farther end, close to the moderator, that was focused on African American women. Although she is appropriate, I felt like I don't think she even conceptualizes how African American men are affected. Although African American men that are currently in the workforce are at a higher pay range, I think she's not considering that. That's one data point, and you have to consider the employment rate. If you can't consider an individual when an individual makes, you have to consider that population. As a population, black men are in nowhere near the wealth that African American women are making. Although we supposedly the ones in the workforce are making 3 cents to the dollar, and women are making 66 cents, it's not appropriate because a majority of us are in jail or unemployed, and it's not an appropriate assessment.
Okay.
Yeah, well, Tommy Curry, yeah, thanks. Tommy Curry actually talks on that, and if you adjust for the hours worked, like they're at parity. So black men work more hours.
I'm saying if you adjust for the hours worked, they're at parity. But go on, I'm sorry.
And then also the manual labor versus secretary jobs.
Yeah,
it's
okay.
like.
Go ahead, my doctor friend.
And so I also wanted to speak on the young lady that was going through the struggles with the baby. She definitely is in really dire constraint, and I would say to people that feel like it's a majority her fault, or you have to consider the system that she's in. She wouldn't even be able to afford the abortion to get rid of the baby, let alone
That's true.
even consider that as an option.
That's true.
The way the laws are going, it wouldn't be an option for her, depending on the area she's in. And she wouldn't have those funds. Who is she gonna go to? Me, I'm gonna, like you said, I'm gonna be a young doctor, and I'm actually transitioning into residency. And I literally, if it wasn't for my girlfriend, I would not have the funds to make it to move from the place that I'm in right now to the place where my residency is, because medical school, although it gives you funds to live and survive, the funds only last up until so long, and you know that's coming from a potential, that's a soon-to-be position. So,
all right, I
that's all I had to say to you guys. You guys have a wonderful night, and happy birthday.
Thank
you're doing
you.
great things. I wish I was able to talk to you guys a little more.
No, I appreciate it. I think the professor you're talking to is Tracy McMillan Cotton, and even if you have disagreements with her, I think you got to check out her work. I mean, I was thoroughly impressed by a lot of what she had to say. And I understand that there may be some disagreement on that level, but she was a beast with her information.
It could also mention the distinction between her and other people, and how a lot of black talking heads have forgotten how to talk to black people.
Yeah,
and that's important.
Like Tracy McMillan, like she was talking like regular, like she's talking to black people, like you get like that she is definitely anchored in the black community in terms of authentically anchored in the black community in terms of where she comes from. And you might not disagree with everything I say, but like she doesn't strike me as someone like who was picked as a mouthpiece by white people. Like she is authentically anchored in this community. And she called herself a democratic socialist on the panel. You don't get many black people who do that. Most black people would just be like, well, I'm a Democrat. I support Democrats. Like, no, I think based on just what I saw, I think she's the real deal, and I appreciate her.
So what's going on with these high profile black people who don't really talk like they talk to black people?
I don't know. Like
I
can't. Listen, I think everybody on the panel did that thing.
Okay.
Like I think there was some definite areas where I disagree with people on the panel. But honestly, I think we have to learn to disagree without being like, you're a coon. I think we have to learn to like do that in a way that is beneficial. But I also think you have to, it's very hard for people, right? Because people believe, if they're around, like it's very hard for people who are at white institutions to do stuff. It's not their fault. It's not their fault. It's just they set it up that way, right? They set it up that way where it's difficult for you to. The smartest people they set it up where it's difficult for you to do stuff for your people. Right. But like
I've been trying and failing for years. This is the closest I come.
But I appreciate everybody on the panel, and I look forward to talking to them again.
Okay, let's new caller. Keep going.
Yeah, keep going.
All right, let's go right here.
Hello? Hey, Yvette, hey, I got through. Oh my God, your lines always get clogged.
I know.
You did really good. You did really, really good. You nailed it. You hit the ball out the park. But,
Hey, I want to bring two things up to your attention. You were talking about Booker T and how he's so like entrenched in the black politics.
Yeah.
Right? And, the black nationalists, they're always saying, well, yeah, Booker T would kiss white people's ass and he would coon and shuck and jive, but low-key under the table he would support radical movements and all of this stuff. And, he inspired Marcus Garvey, and that's why Garvey came to America. And he was doing a lot of things under the table. He really wasn't what you think he is. Yeah, he did it to get resources from the white dominant society. I just think it's just so, I don't know what to say. And I just wanted to bring that up to your attention.
Okay.
And then the woman who was there, I found like there was another woman who was kind of heavy set. She made a lot of good points.
She
but
did.
She all had some, I don't know, like some slight against the black men. Like she always, I understand what black women go through, but it seemed like she had some, I don't know, like some animosity or something.
I don't think so. See, I don't think she had.
I don't know. I just wanted to get your thought on it.
No, I don't think she had any animosity for black men at all. I really don't. I think that what she was saying is that black women have $5, and that's a study, and they use that $5 to go and do stuff for the church, to do souls to the polls. They use it to kind of help black family and undergird black family in a way that matters that they don't get credit for. And so I don't think she had anything against black men. She was just talking about what black women do and contribute. I didn't get that from her at all. I was very impressed. Like I was very impressed. Like I told her right after the show, like you were the real deal. I think if it came off that way, I don't think it was that way. I think she was just riding the way she was riding, but I don't think that's the way she intended that to come off at all. If it came off that way, it didn't come off that way to me. In terms of Booker T, for me, I find a lot of what Booker T does very problematic, and I think I've said that, but I want everybody to come to their own decision. I don't want to be somebody who just preaches to you. I want you to read the book, and when we get for those who don't know, we decided that Up From Slavery and The Education of Booker T. Washington, we're reading those two books together, and we're going to discuss them in May. So Up From Slavery and The Education of Booker T. Washington, and we're going to read both of those together in May. I mean, we're going to talk about them in May. I'm reading them now, and we're going to talk about them in May. So if you haven't gotten those books, get them so we can have that discussion. I think the black brokerage politics or race relations, the whole project of race relations as opposed to redistribution, the whole project of acquiescing to white people, and just hoping they treat us fairly, I think that's a Booker T. Washington project. And I think that's something that we need to get out from up under. Yeah. And I think he kind of undergirds that we can do for self. Like we should have seen that this thing failed a long time ago. Yeah. And that's my personal view. But when we talk about it, I'm not going to discriminate against callers who come in and have a different view. We'll just go back and forth and we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll just go back and forth and we'll figure it out. Hello?
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 You are?
Yes.
Hey, Yvette, it's Jay from Brooklyn. Long time I don't call in. What's going on?
What's going on with you?
It's in Brooklyn.
Hey, I'm hanging in there. I'm going to try to be quick because I'm in the army ready to hang up the phone by me. Let me get started. First of all, everybody's going on about this young lady with her baby and if she had a man in her life. The problem starts off with the job to be paying her more. It's a very physically demanding job. It requires someone who cares. It should pay a lot more than what it's paying. That's problem number one. She has a judgment in her life, but we know black men fight, they can't get a job. So that's number one. Everybody can't be a lawyer, doctor.
Exactly. Yeah.
Life doesn't work that way. Institutions can't work for everybody being at the top. Everybody has a job to do. That's number one. Number two, the two of them combined, that don't mean nothing. Let me tell you something. My mother and father have been together for like 34 years. And they struggle. They struggle. I don't know. I never grew up in a single parent household, but they struggle every day. To this day, they still struggle. Thank God I have a little money where I can pitch in and ease the burden off of them because they're getting older. That's just Black life. It's struggling. So for everybody to look at this young woman who went, who worked, who did what she was supposed to do and judge her, that's crazy. The job should pay more. I mean, that's it. I don't get it. What do you want her to do? That's why, Billy. She have her child, let her have her child. She's 32. She wants to be a mother, let her be a mother. All of us can't have abortion because it will happen to all of us. Somebody gonna want to have babies. I mean, come on.
And she only has one.
One.
Yeah.
My parents had 7. My God. I should only have one.
I agree.
Jesus Christ.
I
People gotta
agree.
ease up a little bit.
In the richest country in the world, Black people can't have one baby. That's what you're telling me. In the richest country in the world, Black people can't have one baby.
In the rich country, we can't have one.
Nah, I can't have one baby.
God. People are so hard on her. Give the girl a break.
Good for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I agree. I appreciate that. And I think that's what, when we talked about, that's what we talked about last time, right? I mean, when we talked about, people say, oh, the woman in the panel, she seemed like, no, I don't think that. I think she's sick of this kind of stuff. Like, I think when we talked about Professor Collins, I think she's sick of this kind of stuff, right? Just getting like, getting beat and getting like, treated like this because you had a baby. And when you look at the Washington Post comments, look at the comments. It's awful. The way they talk about her and treat her. But, she got fingernails. That's not going to save your life. Now, I agree. Like, you might not want to put money on that because you want to eat tomorrow and you don't know what life has to hold for you. Uber can deactivate you. But think that's going to give her some sort of upward mobility. That's crazy. You got Black people saying that kind of stuff. But, yeah, go on. Good move. Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
Hey, what's going on, Yvette? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Well, I can't complain. Hey, I just wanted to get in on this conversation about the young lady who was driving for Uber and, had the hard time with the child and the job and not getting paid enough. This is going to sound a little bit heartless, but out the gate, I did have a lot of compassion for her, and it was, sad, what she went through. But I think people need to kind of have an understanding about what corporations do. I worked as an investment banker for Merrill Lynch for about 8 years, and people need to understand companies like Uber are not concerned about the drivers. The drivers are not what's important. It's about creating value for shareholders and driving revenue for the shareholders of the company. It's about the people that they're picking up. No one's there concerned about, are you paying drivers enough? You're trying to pay them as least as you can. When I would look at financial statements from companies, I wanted to see their burden costs and their overhead and their expenses low. Because if I did, I know that they were controlling their costs and it was going to be a good investment. I don't want to see Uber paying through their nose or paying their drivers $20 an hour. Again, not to be cold-hearted, but that's not how this works. That's not how the financial markets work. That's not how capitalism works.
And that's the problem problem with capitalism. And that's the problem with capitalism. Everybody's a cog in a wheel. Nobody's a person. Nobody's a human. You're just labor. But go on. I'm sorry. And by the way, the women on YouTube want to know if you're single. Probably the men too.
For me, it's like you have to have an understanding. It's not. Like I said, I care about her situation, but they're not worried about her. I don't know if you guys seen the piece in the article where it talked about her leasing the Altima and they were taking X amount of dollars out of her check. I mean, I read that and I dropped my tablet. I couldn't believe that people wouldn't understand that that's a shitty deal. Not to hate the curse on there, but I mean, it was unbelievable. I'm like, why are we surprised by this? I mean, when the corporations get in the business of worrying about their employees? I mean, look at Walmart, look at Costco's a good company, or look at P&G, or look at some of the iron ore companies. No one is in a business to care about the employees like that unless you're unionized. And in that case, you set aside a certain amount of revenue or capital that the unions are going to require, or have health insurance or different things. But it's not that important. And I hate to put it that way. We want to see expenses low, revenue high,
and a market to operate in. And right now, Uber has a lot of issues going on. They have a lot of competition. But just think about it if you were a yellow cab driver. I mean, you've been basically priced out of the market for, freelance drivers. I mean, and then look at Uber, 1099 is drivers. You're not an employee. You're a subcontractor.
Yeah.
So they don't have any expenses. They don't have to pay you unemployment. From an investment standpoint, it's very attractive. And I just want people to understand, get what you got to get out of these companies, whatever it is.
Thank
save
him.
your
He's
money,
telling the truth.
Grow a business if that's what you want to do, but don't think that the corporations are in it for you. Don't be silly.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate that. But like the thing about it is, like, you don't have any choice but taking the shitty deal if that's all you got. Like, if that's your only option is taking the shitty deal, you take the shitty deal. Like, that goes again to, like, our options and choice. We don't have choice. Like, only thing she had was, like, this job working at this company, like this home healthcare company, and Uber. That's all. If that's all your choice, that's what you do. I would have driven Uber too. I ain't got no choice. I got a baby on the way. Whatever. I ain't got no choice. I ain't got, like, the free. That's the garbage of the free market to make you believe you got choice. You ain't got no choice. But keep it moving.
Hello, hi.
Hi.
Hello, am I on?
Yes.
Hi. That you're saying that the individual doesn't is not going to get much. You said we have to work as a collective, right?
Yes.
Now we have to work as a collective at the smallest level, and that's family. Black men and black women have to get together, and we have to marry, and we have to stay married. And so you're saying, why couldn't this guy marry her because he didn't have a job? Well, they have two rents if they're not together. They should get married because there are certain benefits to it with regard to tax benefits. You know, I'm going to go away, but right now they're there. And when we talk about we need to get together, like what you were saying, it has to be done at the sub-level, which is family level. Not her and her mother, her and her man need to get together. Now, I am a Christian, and I am a Garveyite, a Pan-African. That's how you do it. That's it. Now, with regards to the Up from Slavery book, there's a free book online if you go to Princeton University, so you don't have to buy that particular book. And I ask you to look at John Henry Clark's assessment. John Henry Clark is a black nationalist historian, and his assessment of Booker T. Washington and the time is on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And also Up from Slavery, the audio book is also on YouTube for those people who don't have really time to read, so that way you can only just read one book. And that's it. Thank you. Have a good day.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that input. Let's keep it moving. I want to get as many people as I can. Hello? Hello?
Hey, what's up, everybody? I just wanted to say everybody that the young lady from the show, she might be tuned in right now. So please be courteous. I'm not asking anybody to be, to censor themselves, but, let's just be respectful, because I try to loop her in, because we can spread this information. That's the power of, the internet, and with us trying to be spaces, I went out and added her on Facebook and then looped her into the conversation. Mm-hmm. I really feel like I want to say to Yvette, I appreciate you guys doing this, because, this is really pretty much you guys doing this for free, and then whatever donations come through. And as I do the same, and I just wanted to say that myself, because I now tune in every week to support. And then thank you for also running that viral video. And just to keep it brief, I really want people to understand the context of white people owning 90% of the wealth. They own 90% of the wealth. They own 98% of the land. And you grow resources on the land. But we both have the same dream. And I think in so many ways, black people have not had to deal with the consequence of not owning land, of not owning resources. And we're about to have to. Mm. And I think that when we look at a lady like what we're looking at now, with this story that she has that's so powerful, understand this could be you tomorrow, or it could be your sister right now, it could be your auntie or your cousin or anybody else. And I really think for so many black conservative aspirational talkers, they don't get that point. You know what I'm saying?
No, I know exactly what you're saying. I understand exactly what you're saying.
And so, like the other side of that, inside of my video and my studies, you can see people on, Newsmax, inequality.org, Huffington Post, it's all over the place. But we own 2.6% of the wealth. So just to give you guys context, there's like $86 trillion of wealth in America. White people got like 78 trillion of it. We got 2.6% of that. But it's almost all in boomer hands, like retirees. Working age black families that talk all this talk about enterprise and do for self and starting businesses, they are invisible when it comes to wealth.
Yep.
And they haven't really had to deal with the consequence of being invisible when it comes to wealth. And so, like, at what point so there's a balancing act. Me and Yvette always use the word, black people have too much life for their wealth level, But when does it become so saddened that we react to the fact that a woman that's in her 30s, that's having her first child, that worked for 5 years, it says she worked for 5 years straight, can't afford a child, after being a descendant of slavery. We didn't just come here like last year. You can say, why did you come here? You can't afford it. No, we were descended from slavery. She's having her first child in 30s, and she's been working for 5 years. At what point do we say that's not going to work for us?
Yep.
And we stand up and say, instead of looking at her individually and not seeing ourselves through her. It's real interesting. I'll leave it at this. Even listening to the investment bankers, and I respect him for calling in, but he was really where the aspirational people were talking to. And that's not no side of him, because I know he's still listening. But it was like, that's a good investment. That's what they get. That's how they get our talented tips. They get our talented tips actually wired in, like they winning too when they find those things. And when they find these investments that don't make no sense for black people. The one thing that I've noticed about Uber is how racist black people look at Uber. Like, they don't understand that we're the group that needs recourse the most.
Yeah.
What do I mean? When people get in your car as a black dude, you're more likely to get a complaint than a white woman. It's just the nature of the history of this country. But you don't really understand that until you individually get the complaint. And I think we got to get back to one thing that you said earlier in the show, and thinking communally. Because if we don't, even if we think communally, it might still just be this is just that bad, but at least we would have some kind of recourse. And my purpose, I shared this article with you, Yvette, and I'm glad that you did this story. My purpose is to support this woman. My purpose is also to make sure that we look at her story and see ourselves and don't see the enemy. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Antonio. You all know Antonio Moore is a friend of the show. Tone Talks, you can check him out there. But yeah, like how do you not see yourself as this woman? Like, do you really think you're so far apart from her? And if you really see yourself as being apart from her, then I think you're delusional. Like, I think you're delusional to see yourself. Like, how do you be? And then one thing that Antonio did mention, like, she's a woman having a baby in her 30s. She didn't think she could have a kid. Like, this is a gift for her. She thought, I have fibroids, I can't have a kid. And then you have a kid. That's a gift. You only have one, and you're in your 30s, which means you got fibroids in your 30s. You're probably not going to have another. That's a gift. And y'all are telling her that it was wrong for her to have that baby. Like, you should check yourself if you're saying that. If that's your thinking, you should check yourself. You should look at yourself and try to understand who you are as a human being, that you have adopted the beliefs of the people who have oppressed you. That this one black woman can't have one kid in the richest country in the world that her ancestors built. She can't do that? Why? So, go on.
Hi, Yvette. Hi, Army.
Hey!
Hey. Love the show. Love your show. I'm in New York as well. But I wanted to speak on, America, the criminal enterprise, and what we have been suffering through as black people in this country. Yes. My heart goes out to that young woman. And Antonio was so correct when he talked about the investment banker who don't even get it. He thought that he was sitting at the table, and he's just a pawn that they're using. And I want to say this. I retired after 22 years as a flight attendant. I retired at 50 because I promised myself that's what I would do. because I couldn't do it anymore. It's just something I said I couldn't do it. So that's 2 years. I'm 52. I didn't realize happy birthday. Our birthdays were back to back. Now it's March 25th. I think first was March 25th.
Okay.
So I'm not sure. It's your birthday, March 29th, you got?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now it's the 25th. So anyway, I made 52. And I learned about an industry that I had no idea that existed. And that they pay pretty decent. I can live off of it because I'm 52. I retired at 50 as a flight attendant. I have my 401k, but you can't touch that because they are going to tax the hell out of that if you touch that. But what I learned was this nanny industry that the Hispanics and all the illegals come over here to do. Girl, I had no idea that I can make $1,100 and sometimes more a week being a nanny.
My.
Yeah, white people pay for their nannies.
Let me put the word out because I didn't know this thing exists. I'm like, how did we make it? How do white people don't know how to take care of their children? I mean, I don't understand. We got some slavery. We going through all this stuff. This woman had a baby. She's doing Uber. These white people, I'm talking doctors, lawyers, Indian chiefs, they can't even take care of their own children, but they're willing to pay you $1,100, $1,200 a week, $1,500 a week cash, sometimes cash, to take care of their children, and you're not doing much. And you set your own rate. I set my own rate because I do have education. I've been someplace. So I set my rate when I go in. I know, I'm serious. I set my rate when I go in. I say, this is what I want, and if you can afford to pay me this, what do you need? Tell me what you need because this is my rate. And sometimes they look at me and they can't say no because I come in there, they say black and well spoken, and they actually pay me my rate. And it's nothing hard to do. And so I'm just living my life. And black people need to know, they need to get into that industry too. I know it may seem like you're going back in time, but the degrees are not working anymore. College is not working anymore. There are no jobs out there for black people. Honey, start telling them, so yeah, I'll be a nanny. You could be a nanny for a celebrity. You could be a nanny for anybody. They will pay you very good money. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you,
guys
ma'am.
are doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But I ain't taking care of no little white babies. I appreciate it, but I'm not anybody else. You gotta do what you gotta do to live in this world. So I'm not throwing no shade on nobody else. You do whatever you gotta do. I'm just telling you I can't.
I can't rock them little brats to sleep. No, no. I mean, white people pay for their nannies.
Yeah,
they pay for their
and they
nannies.
got money. Think about how much money you gotta have to pay that much money for a nanny.
They got grandparents who got money.
Don't even think about like working as a nanny. Like, how much money do you have to pay that much for a nanny? And that's why they show up at the airport. I'm here for the Muslim ban. It's so awful. You ain't here for that. You're not here for that. You're here to make sure none of this stuff interrupts your nanny or your gardener. It ain't nothing about doing the right thing for nobody. What are you talking about? Come on, man. Give me a break.
Here's how that works.
Get on my nerves.
Well, now we have a lot of white women going into the workforce, like working these, good jobs, but they don't want to send their kids to school with, honestly, in the cities, a lot of black kids. They just don't want to do it. So what they do is they pay for private nannies, and they will pay. The problem is if you're black, getting that job, because I don't know how you get that job, get that hookup. But yeah, they do pay the money. They do pay the money for their nannies. I don't know what to do next.
Somebody said something bad on the page. Somebody said F them white baby. What's wrong with you, Lisa?
I'll go to the next call.
You ain't right. Get yourself. No, I'm just playing with you, Lisa. Oh.
Yo.
How you doing?
Fine, how you doing? This is, I'm Daryl.
Hey, Daryl.
Daryl Reeves. Hey, how you doing? I was calling because I wanted to know when you all were going to talk about Edward Bernays and Sigmund Freud and the psychology behind consumerism and marketing.
We had a show about that. We had a show where we talked about that. We talked about that on a previous show.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed that whole thing. I'm sorry. I thought you hadn't gotten to it yet.
No, we had a show. I got to figure out. I don't know what show it was. I got to figure out what show it was because we talked about something else in the beginning, and in the second half of the show, we talked about Bernays and Freud and the manipulation of the consumer and all that. But I got to figure out what show it was. But we did have a previous show where we talked about it.
Okay, I'll look it up.
Okay, appreciate you.
All right,
All right, thank you. Yeah.
Who's knocking on doors, Aaron?
Well, no. One of the people on YouTube said, "Yeah, black man going around knocking on doors said, I want to be your nanny." I'm gonna name my price. End up in cuffs.
Black men are nannies. Like,
End up in cuffs, man.
Yeah, you can't go around because they gon' if a Latino go, they gonna be like, you are the gardener. If a white person go, they gonna be like, oh, okay, you live here. And if you a black man go on a fence,
I want to be your nanny.
They gonna be like, what you doing in that fancy costume? We finna lock you up. You gonna be a daddy. That's the thing, though, right? Ain't nothing for black men to be. Not in American economy. It's gonna be like black men. It's gonna be us next. Black men gonna go first, whoosh, and then they gonna push us, whoosh.
Hello.
How you doing?
Hello.
Hey,
Can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, praise the Lord. Last time I talked to you, I said I wanted to get together with your producer so that I could make a donation, and he hung up.
Oh.
And it took me a little while to build up a PayPal account.
Yes.
And I was able to transfer, X number of dollars into your account.
Thank you.
But can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Take these dates down, September 29th, 30th, and October 1st. I was thinking about flying you into Louisville. Boyce Watkins is going to be here, and I wanted you to make a brief. I was going to ask Boyce to make a brief introduction of who you were and what you were doing, and then we would have time to talk.
Okay.
But that's tentatively. Second thing I want to say real quick before I get cut off. I don't want my brother cut me off here. We only have one black governor. We only had one in our whole lifetime. After the Civil War, we only have one. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we only have one. Of from India descent, we have two.
The Republicans.
Yeah.
And one was from Louisiana, the other one was from South Carolina, and she is now in the United Nations.
We don't want black
sheik.
people like that.
Yeah.
Her name Nikki.
Nikki Haley.
That's her nickname.
That's her made up name. That's her made up name. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I said that's her made up name.
Yeah. Nikki is a nickname. She's from India. So I'm just saying that there's a lot of things that's changed and whatever. I'm a Garveyite. I believe that some of us should have been over in Africa, part of us should have been over here, and we should have been working our markets. But we're in America's Las Vegas trying to make it, and you're not going to make it in America's Las Vegas.
I hear you.
The cards are stacked against us. We're not going to make it. We have to change. I feel sorry for the lady that worked for Uber, had a baby, now broke. It would have been nice if she would have had a system like being able to call into someone like yourself that could have gave her some good, sound advice. But we have lost from Marcus Garvey time. We have lost that base of where we can go somewhere and we can get some real good, sound advice. So we have a lot of us. We're nuclear. Everybody's for themselves. I tried an experiment. A few months ago where I paid the rent for people for 6 months. I paid their rent. And I said, now I want you to go out and work. And all your money that you get from your job, I want you to take that money and save it and take care of your family. I'm going to take care of the rent. I'm going to help you get the food in. For 6 or 7 months, I did that. And you know what? At the end of by the time they got into the 8th month, everybody had a bank account. They had a little money put aside. And I said, you see, now this is on a small level. If we can just incorporate ourselves on a big national level, we can make it. But we have to change the way we live. We have to pull together.
I like to be able to call in to Carnell, people like Sister Yvette, and says, Sister Yvette, what do you think about this? She said, here, let me give you the numbers, like you always talk about. Let me give you the numbers. And let us look at it. You see, we don't have that advice. Everybody's on their own. I sit up there and I look at people, with, making all kinds of decisions that they should not have made if they've had some good, sound advice. And this is why I support programs like yourself, because so far out of every meeting that you have had given good, sound advice based on numbers. You say, listen, look at the numbers. This is what we should be looking at. This is what we should be analyzing. This is the way we should be pulling our resources together. So now, getting back to September 29th, which is Friday, September 30th, which is a Saturday, October 1st, which is Sunday, I'm prepared to go ahead and send a letter out to Dr. Boyce Watkins, tell him what I like to do, fly you in, and have you make a brief introduction to the people.
Talk honorarium.
Yeah, but everybody has just email me at editor@breakingbrown.com. And put in the subject.
I tried it. Somehow I'm having a hard time.
Well, make sure.
Also, another thing, sister, tell people how to set up a PayPal account. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people want to send money, but they don't understand the system of how to send you money.
Well, actually, we're working on a way where maybe you won't have to have a PayPal account to send money. So we're working.
And you know what? And you know something? If you give me an address, which I know for security reasons you can't do that, but if you can give me maybe Amy Army's address or somebody, I can send you a letter and I can send you money. But I can't send you anything, through PayPal. This system with the YouTube or whatever, they may shut this thing down.
Yeah, no. But when you email me, and this is for everybody, put what you're writing about in the subject line. Like if you put trip to Louisville, I'll know who you are. Like, okay, that's the guy I spoke to last night. Like I get a lot of emails. Just put that in the subject line, and I guarantee you, I'll email you back.
All right.
Yeah,
what you need.
See, you get a lot of people that be joking around or whatever. When I tell you I'm gonna do something, it's done.
No, I believe you. Put trip to Louisville in the subject line, and I got you.
I was looking at one of your programs where somebody wrote and said that they tried to email you, and they said that for some reason you wasn't reading your emails. So I
read all of them.
If you're just getting too many emails.
No, I read. Hold on. I read every email I get. Even if I don't reply to you, that doesn't mean I didn't read the email. Like I just get too many emails to reply to, but I read every email. But if you
that's good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that. So I'm going to go ahead and try to put this thing together and just keep doing what you're doing. You know what I mean? It's just you have a level head, and there's going to be a time. I'm asking all the beautiful listeners out there, there's going to be a time where this is going to be taken away. So enjoy it while you have it.
Okay.
There's going to be a time. I'm going to tell you something. I'm a war veteran. I'm going to tell you something. There are times that, you meet people and then the next day they're gone. So don't take this situation, Breaking Brown, don't take it for granted. If you can do something now and it's in your power right now, if it's in your power to do something, do it. To help the sister.
I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate that. I really do. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So right now, what you can do. It was
sort of ominous, but I appreciate it.
No, what you can do right now is actually hit that subscribe button. Send it around to your book club, to your investment club, to your little listserv, to your department serve. Look, if you go to an HBCU, you need to just send it around to everybody you know. Like, you just need to send it around to everybody you know. Send this video. We're doing Black political education here. You should be talking about this in your class. You should be talking about this like at your job. Send it around. We need to get these numbers up. We're at 18,000 now. We need to be at 50,000. And then we can start making some political moves.
Yeah, and you know what? Like you're right. Like we need to be at that level. So I need everybody to subscribe. To do what everybody got to do, what they got to do, to be a part of it. But I want to give I want to give a shout out to Tracy McMillan Cottom's students. Thank y'all for tuning in. Sometimes I appreciate that, and I appreciate your professor who knocked it out. Appreciate y'all. I appreciate everybody. People say, we want you at school. I appreciate all y'all, man. Y'all cool people. Yep. I have bad knee pain.
Look at you. You got your birthday. You finally turned 27.
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, is this Yvette?
It is?
Yeah, hi, it's just Christ M. I'm just calling in. I just want to tell you that, like, you guys, what you guys say are really good. I tune into the show daily. But, like, I think that you guys should definitely highlight how important the Democrats are for us. Like, at the end of the day, like, there are differences between Democrats and Republicans. The Democrats are workable. You know, like, they're more of a reformist party. The Republicans, they're more of, like, they cut everything. Like, for example, they cut federal jobs, which basically, like, made black people unemployed because, you know, we're using, like, the federal public sector. But, yeah, like, they're workable. Like the Democrats, they're more like reforms. Like, they pass the civil rights and, like, they're expanding the civil rights. They expand civil rights and opportunity for us.
Okay.
Under the Clintons and Obama, you have to understand that, like, the economy got better for us. Jobs were created. The black middle class kept expanding. More black representation. So you have to understand that. And, like, we also, like, the thing is, like, people need to understand, like, we need to be more pragmatic. Like, I'm seeing, like, a lot of black people in your comment section saying, oh, we need to, like, ditch Democrats. But, like, the thing is, like, it's easy to say we need to do this or do that or start a political party or, like, practice group economics. But, like, we don't have the capital, the wealth. Not only that, but, like, we should focus on, like, what's achievable. The Democrats, their reforms are more achievable. They have to manage a large-scale system, a country, you know, that which a lot of people are affected by, which because of taxes and, like, deduction things, and stuff like that. So, like, we need, like, things that are more achievable. Like, sure, we should have this and have, you know, all these things and, like, reparations and, like, you know, like, but, like, the thing is, like affordable housing or, like, affordable health care. Like, they're not perfect, but they're definitely an improvement. They're definitely better than what any Republican could do, you know? Because they're achievable. So we should kind of be a bit more pragmatic. Like Clinton, if you look at her platform, she would have championed skilled trades in high schools and community colleges.
Okay,
she championed affordable colleges. Right. She championed job programs.
Okay, I got you, Carl. I'm gonna let Iremy answer that question for you. Iremy, go ahead, brother.
No, I mean, I do think that we should treat Democrats differently than we treat Republicans. I just think that we should be harder on Democrats because, honestly, we give them 94% of our vote. 94% of our vote, we should be asking for every damn thing. 94% of our vote we give to Democrats, and they can't win in a lot of these areas without black people. Like, we're the margin. Although only 13% of the population, when you all go all in on one party, we're the margin of victory in a lot of these places. So, like, we should be going all in. We should not take any guff from any Democrat. Like, they should be on our agenda. Yep. Republicans, we have to deal with just a little bit differently because we don't give them our votes. So we have to actually negotiate with, like, you know, we don't vote for you anyway, but, like, this is what we do to deal business. Democrats, we don't have to be nice to. We give them our vote. We give them everything they ask for, and they give us garbage in return. Or they give us, like, photos. Like, that's not good enough. So, like, I do think we should treat the parties differently. I just don't think we should necessarily, like, kiss Democrat butt. And I think that's the plantation we've been on for too long. So we should just, like, negotiate harder. And hopefully watching this show teaches you how to negotiate harder.
Okay, I got you. I got you right there. I get you. Let's take one last call. Cause people say the show too long. You read the show too long. I can't concentrate. Rest of the can have a show on for 3 hours and just talk about garbage and talk about and make all that money. We can't. Y'all make me so tired. But go. Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
Greetings. This is Capano, calling from Seattle, and I support reparations for black people.
Yeah.
Good for you,
from
brother.
Seattle, it's my wife.
All right. Hey, Yvette, and I just want to say, I saw the panel. You did a great job. Also, want to say, Iron, you did a wonderful job holding it down while you were traveling.
He did.
And I appreciate that the show was able to continue to go strong, to live long. I've been noticing something. It's this continuation of this dichotomy that we're wrapped into. This kind of like, for instance, not to criticize what you're doing about Booker T, but there's always been this, this choice we had to make, this either or, Booker T or W.E.B. Du Bois, Malcolm or Martin, Democrat or Republican, and kind of one of the things I'm witnessing happening now, and I think that you're part of that sphere, is that there's this debate that, it either has to be we try to get things that we need for black people through the government, or we have to, really dig into this kind of, system of your own merits and pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And I really think for black people, we function more on a both and type of construct and mindset. And so what I'm wondering is, I want to ask you about is that right now we're in the United Nations made a proclamation that we're in the decade for the people of African descent. And do you feel that that could be something that we could utilize to bring in the sphere, how we can challenge the government to give black people the resources that we need, as well as giving us the resources needed for people that are wanting to go into business and get the business education that they need and the resources that they need for those businesses to be successful, so that these things are being addressed on all fronts.
All right, thank you, bro. I appreciate the question. Like, regarding like the United Nations, that's what he said, right? Like the first time, like listen, the first time, like, and it may have happened before now, but the first time I remember like really like reading about the United Nations and somebody, I remember Malcolm X doing that, right? And nothing happened. Like, the United Nations in so many ways for me is like this toothless tiger. And if you think I'm wrong and somebody has evidence I'm wrong, I just remember Malcolm X doing all that, and I remember him getting a bullet or multiple bullets. Like, I don't remember anything coming from that to benefit black people in this country. Now he may have brought attention, and that's a wonderful thing. Like, I respect. I got so much respect for Malcolm. I used to have a picture of Malcolm in my apartment. But I just don't see where they met him halfway, or where they came up and said, "Yeah, you're right. We're gonna do this." Right? I think it was a strategy and it was a new strategy back in that day for him. And so I see what happened, but white capital pays for the UN. That's not us. So they gonna listen to us and be like, "Oh, that's so awful. That's so bad." And then what's gonna happen? Like nothing. I just don't see the UN solving any of our problems in this country.
Press or talking points, but I don't
yeah,
know.
I mean, they all the time they say stuff about how awful it is, but they don't do nothing. They can't do nothing.
No. Well,
America's the richest, most powerful, biggest military. What you gonna do?
We'll cut off their lights.
Y'all remember? I don't know if y'all remember like you were alive. Did you ever read that thing about Andrew Jackson? Like, he was talking about doing something and the court ruled that it was illegal. And he was like, okay, they made that ruling. Let me see them enforce it. That's how I feel about the UN. Like, America and everybody, like, okay, they say what they got to say, but let me see them do something about it. Let's say you do something, UN. I think that's about it. I mean, everybody pays their UN dues. The UN, does whatever. And did you see that they just took back or retracted a report they had about the Palestinians? You just kind of snatched it back. Oh, sorry, I don't know what. Like, they're kind of like a toothless tiger to me. I don't look to the UN for anything. I think everything that happens will have to happen in this country, and will have to be instigated by African Americans when we begin to understand who we are and how we've suffered and what we've lost because of how our wealth has been, snatched by industrialists, the barons of capital, who say, scoundrels that they are. But I want to thank you all for tuning in, for coming back and having this conversation with me. Again, if you're watching, share it on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, subscribe. Let's get this thing moving, because we got a lot of stuff to do. Capital ain't playing. We got a lot of stuff to do. If you haven't subscribed to the newsletter yet, the newsletter I send out about things that I found throughout the week, which I think would be important for you to read. If you haven't subscribed to that, you can go to breakingbrown.com and subscribe. You go to breakingbrown.com and donate. You can go to subscribe to Brown, but that's not for the newsletter. That's just to be a part of the general mailing list. You can go to donatebrown.com. So support us if you can. We really appreciate it. And at the least, if you can't do anything else, share this video and subscribe to our channel and share it with your friends. If you can't do it, and if you're in a group, if you have a Facebook groups that you talk to and communicate with, please share the video to your group. I would appreciate it. I would really appreciate it. So thank everybody. I love y'all. Thank you for coming back. And thank Ivy for filling in. I appreciate it.